From Ben Bates, or at Cryptesian on Twitter. How has social media, he asked me by directing the message to at Chris Pirillo, changed your views on world events such as Occupy Wall Street and Arab Spring? Uh, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily changed my views. I think social media is changing the world. And social media, understand, I've talked about the topic many times, it's us, right? It's us using this set of tools. Everybody who might be using Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, and beyond, we can share our ideas, our ideology. We realize that we're not alone when we share our experiences. And it didn't change my views necessarily. I was able to gain insight into other views, and I think I appreciate that. I love challenging my own convictions. Nobody's there to necessarily say that I'm wrong. It's funny, though, a lot of people do. They're so uncomfortable in their own beliefs that they have to challenge other people's beliefs. Those people you almost have to ignore, and they're everywhere, especially in social media. But it's changing the world, social media and these tools, more than it's changing my views. It's giving me the ability to understand an event from another person's perspective. In some cases, as was pointed out with Arab Spring, it's toppling governments. That's true change. Power to the people. And I think the idea behind Occupy Wall Street is it's a good idea. I don't know where the execution is going. I don't know how it's going to necessarily end. I think it needed to happen. That's for sure. And the mainstream media isn't always going to give you the full story. In any country. It's up to us to share our ideas. So whether it's Occupy Wall Street, or let's say it's something that's just the opposite of Occupy Wall Street, these social media tools can be used to coalesce around ideas and connect and realize that we're not alone in an endeavor, and in some cases, a fight. And instead of projecting my views on a matter, I much more appreciate my ability to see other people's perspectives on a matter. It's much more important for me, again, to digest a different perspective than it is, in many cases, to project my perspective onto anybody else. I like playing devil's advocate as well, and there's some things that I believe in, just with an absolute, no, this is what I believe in. We're all that way. Has not changed my views. It's changed my ability to witness views, whether they're my own or not. Information is information. Granted, some information could be misinformation. Still, social media is absolutely changing the world, and sadly, that change is coming at the cost of some lives. It has been seen in some countries, Mexico, namely, that people are being killed for what they're posting on Twitter. Males, females, doesn't matter. They're being killed just by using social media and putting their lives and their faces and everything on the line. But even in Mexico, people are using social media around their own villages to keep in touch with one another. Communication, man, it's powerful. And it's interesting to be a witness to that remotely, and being ever so grateful that I live in a country that doesn't give me that fear. That I'm not worried about losing my life. I mean, it could happen. It could happen. If I piss off the wrong person, and I hope I wouldn't. By putting myself out there. I mean, granted, I attract trolls like, north to a south magnet. But you know, that's something just to keep in mind. You know, you can get your own ideas out there. You know what? Just because you're a geek doesn't mean that you can't have ideas beyond technology. And anybody who would force you into their mental box is the one who's delusional, not you. Don't let anybody tell you what to think. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. You know, you're gonna see it, you're gonna believe it, and that's gonna be for yourself. If anybody tells you should stick to just talking about technology, you know what you do? You tell them to fuck off, because you're a human being too. You did not lose your right to be a human being just because you are saying something that someone else believes you don't have a right to say. You do have a right to say it. Doesn't matter if they agree or disagree. You have that right. And if we're not fighting for that human right, what are we fighting for? And I appreciate that social media and social media tools can better connect us with one another across international boundaries and really coalesce around the idea of what it is to be human and the freedoms that we all might one day share. The ability to communicate openly and getting your message out, man. I mean, that's powerful stuff. If you've got access to YouTube, you have access to the world. You can make change. You're not going to agree with what everybody else is doing, but you should take the time to at least understand where they're coming from. Tolerance. If there's anything, social media has taught me tolerance. And there are some days that I handle differences or indifferences better than I do other days, but either way, has not changed my views. It's just changed the way that I'm able to witness alternative views. It's a good question, and I hope that everybody takes this to heart when they watch the video. Curious to know if social media has changed your views. Not necessarily as interested in your perspectives on Occupy Wall Street or the Arab Spring, but you know, are you using social media to make this a better world? I guess maybe that's the question I'd want to ask you. Until next time, we'll see you later. Jackpot fishy poopy pants. Did you guys see that?